Tim Stark, 52, of Winter Haven, Florida, born in Waukegan, Illinois, passed away on July 4th, 2015. Tim was a loving husband, brother, father, grandfather, and a great friend to many. He was a car enthusiast, and his love for NASCAR, Harley-Davidson, and his zest for life showed in his great personality. He will be greatly missed by all. On July 25th, we got together to share stories and celebrate his life.
Well, hi everybody. My name is Dave Cheney, and obviously I'm a friend of Tim's at this event that Tim's son Jason and Caitlin put on today. And we're all thinking of Tim. We're trying to remember. Well, some of us are trying harder than others, like myself, to remember some stories that would make for good taping instead of a lot of good editing. I've known Tim since he was a little boy, so there's many stories. As I think of them today, I can think of Tim's passion for cars, Tim's passion for everything to do with cars, racing, going to the races, anything to do with the races. Racetrack food. Tim was great advocate of racetrack food. So all of these things that we did with Tim and that a lot of us shared with Tim had to do with just fun stuff. It all mostly had to do related to cars. During the many years that I was in business, Tim worked for me for quite a long period of time. But we did more things. We did a lot of social things. We traveled, we went to races together. Tim worked with me on the race car, as well as many other guys that race in the area. Better racers, more consistent, longer racers, Mike Frost and guys in the sprint cars. But I think we remember Tim as that guy that would be there for you. When it came time to go to the races, Tim was there. When it came time to unload the race car, Tim was there. When things went wrong, Tim was there to find out what he could do to help to make it right. Growing up with Tim and his family, his brothers and sisters, this is a trait that is in all the family members. I guess to sum up, this little piece, and I'll try to keep it short, is people that know Tim know exactly what I mean. Folks that don't know or that might see this, if they ever met him, they were touched by him. And he'll be missed. Thank you.
All right, one of my favorite stories with Starkey is I always had mini bikes, motorcycles. Used to ride around my house. That was my track, because my mom wouldn't let me take it up to the tracks to ride. So every time I'd have to go in for dinner, Starkey, he'd ride the motorcycle. My neighbors hated us all. Finally, one day he's like, "Dude, can I take it up to the tracks and let him go to the tracks?" I get done eating and I'm waiting. Finally, I look and here he comes down the street and he's pushing my motorcycle. And he gets all the way home and he starts pacing out and says, "Man, I'm really sorry. I don't know how you'll pay for it. I'm really sorry. I looked and he had broke the sprocket off the rear wheel, and to ride it as much as he could, he put sticks in through the holes. And we ended up having it welded, and that's, I'll never forget it, because I've never seen anybody so worried about breaking my motorcycle in my life. We had it welded and life was good.
All right, I don't know what year it was. I don't know what reason. I'm 53, so I'm sorry. I apologize for not remembering everything. And the story is correct, my version of it. Timmy and I, we both had brown trucks. He had the big brown truck, I had the mini brown truck. I won't say which one looked better, but his was more intimidating. For some reason, we exchanged trucks for the night. I worked third shift at the bowling alley. I don't know why I had that truck, but my buddy Joe Mabbitt and I were cruising around in it, and I realized what granny gear was. I didn't know what granny gear was because my Nissan didn't have it. And the truck was pretty intimidating going down the road on Sheridan Road. It's probably about 10 o'clock at night, dropping Joe Mabbitt off. And honestly, with the radio jamming, because we were jamming some tunes, I didn't hear anything. The next day I dropped the truck off, and all of a sudden Timmy's calling me up, talking to me about, I gave him a rod knock. We didn't have Google back then, so I honestly didn't know what the hell a rod knock was. So till this very day, he said I gave him a rod knock on that truck, and I swear, if I did it, Timmy, since you're up there in a better place, I apologize for it, but I'm gonna plead the fifth the whole time because the radio was too damn loud and I didn't hear it. And I'm not gonna tell you Joe Mabbitt was driving either because I was. Take care, buddy. I miss you a lot. Bye.
Okay, my story is with Timmy. We were probably in about 6th grade. I don't know who he stole the cigarettes from, but he sold cigarettes, and we went down to Beulah Park and we smoked them, and we like had races and everything, and it must have, because I never smoked, got high. So we get back to Junior's house, and I was all high or whatever from the cigarette, and I fell down the stairs coming out of Junior's garage and got a concussion. So that's probably one of the main stories from me and Tim. Thanks.
My story about Tim, where do I start? Timmy was a great guy and loved being around him, and worked with him for years at Cheney's and hung out with him as much as we could with a group of people, great group of people. Timmy was a hard-headed guy and sometimes always go off the wrong path, and I'd try to put him back on the right path, but we'd bang heads once in a while, but we always still stuck in there as good friends. Stories with Timmy, I think one of the crazy ones I had, we went to Chicago World of Wheels car show Friday night. It was just Timmy and I. Went down there, walked around all the cool cars, and we both had 2 beers apiece. Driving down Lakeshore Drive, heading home, coming up on Foster Avenue, Timmy was playing around with my radio in my Pontiac Grand Am. And so I looked down and to help him with changing the radio station, and we did. And I looked back up and I was in a curve, missed the curve, and we went over 2 sets of curbs, 10 inches, foot high, wiped out the whole front end of my car. Went up on it was like I was going back up on the highway, and then I backed it off, and taxi cab driver took us and found a police officer, and it was Timmy banged his knee against the dash. I didn't stop hearing about that for years. Always complaining about his knee every time he'd see me. But it was a fun night no matter what. Wrecked the car and we still had a blast. But, or there was a situation one time in David Ramey's basement at a bachelor party. Timmy was towing, where all the guys are standing around watching a stripper, and Timmy's sitting over there. I don't know if other guys remember this. He's sitting over there. He's got the big old style dial phone sitting in his lap with his uniform on because he was towing. We all made so much fun of him, and he's like, "Everybody, get away from me! Get away from me! The phone ringing! The phone ringing!" But Timmy, I miss you. You're an awesome friend. Can't wait to see you. Well, I can wait to see you in heaven. But thank you, and Tina, good luck to you and to the rest of the Stark family and the Whitmores. Thank you.
Well, in general, my memories of Tim they go quite a few years back, 30 plus years. Tim, he loved his trucks, I remember that. He was a big, huge truck person, so he had a real cool short bed Chevy that was cool, that we all liked and always liked to. We used to switch cars and we'd drive each other's cars, and everybody always wanted to drive Tim's truck. Well, Foot kind of ruined that for us because he blew the motor up one night when we were out cruising around in it. But anyway, in snowmobiles, I remember Chris's dad has snowmobiles, and we'd go over there and get him. We'd go riding all the time, and that was always a lot of fun because you could ride in Zion, you could ride all over the Park District, you'd ride on their property, so we'd ride all over the place. And one of my other memories is, well, we were always into cars and hanging out, and we were mischievous, but we didn't really drink too much back then. But I remember when Tim found out that Chris was pregnant with Jason, we were over at our friends, these girls had this trailer in Beach Park, and we'd go over there and hang out. And I remember we got all jacked up one night, and I remember Tim was there he had his shirt off, and he looked like a Skid Row bum. He's running around, I'm gonna be a daddy, I'm gonna be a daddy. And I remember he got on the floor like a horse, and Ricky got on him, was riding him around the trailer, and giddy up. And Timmy's going, I'm going to be a daddy, I'm going to be a daddy. So that was, that's how far back I go with those guys. And that's just some of my memories. And Tim, great guy and big heart, and you're going to be missed, bud.
Early, let's see, teenage years, quarter beer nights at the bullpen. Riding up there, me and Starkey thought we were too cool, and Dad's 69 Polara 500 custom convertible, right? So we go and have a good time, lots of beer. Somehow, for some reason, it's October on the way home, and we got the top down. Yeah, and lo and behold, got pulled over into the bowling alley, and the cop says, makes me do all the things, and I failed miserably, and he went to Parber, good old went to Parber, and he says to Tim, can you drive? He said, yeah. They threw him the keys, he caught him in midair, which was a miracle alone, turned around, tripped over his own feet in the mud puddle, and that was it. They looked at me, said, you're going to jail, and you get in the car too. At least they took Tim home.
Okay, I got another story that sticks in my head and I think of all the time, and I laugh my ass off thinking about it. You know, back in the day when things changed, when we had big trucks and Timmy had big jacked up trucks, and then everything went to the gas misers and smaller stuff, and Timmy bought this little Nissan pickup truck. You remember that?
I do
the
remember
black
that.
Nissan pickup truck, and then he had to have some wheels on, and he lowered that thing down, roll down.
Right.
Well, then one day he pulled a trick on me and shit. I went out there and he had a purple stripe on this truck, and I'm like, smell that? It smells like grape. Oh yeah, that's the stripe. He goes, smell the stripe. I'm over there sniffing the side of the truck. Man, that is. He goes, you dummy, that's the stuff I put on the tires to make them shine. Well, yeah, he laughed.
He was all into that.
Oh yeah,
Armor All tires.
Oh yeah, he clean all the time. He, can't go to town unless
clean. That's right.
Starkey's, clean car. Well, here's another story though. We're up late one night up at McDonald's right here in Zion. Here comes old Starkey coming by, all pimping, leaning in that little thing. Cruising, goes over the speed bump, the first, and then he went to go back over the back of it.
Got stuck.
He dropped that truck so low, he got stuck on the speed bumps at McDonald's. We were laughing our asses off. He's like, hey, help me. Yeah. He's like, help me pushing. He just kept rocking until he finally got off. Yeah, we didn't see him the rest of the night. So, you got any stories there?
I got a confession. I didn't really like Tim that much. When I worked with Dave and Tim at the original Cheney's, Dave was kind, he was thoughtful, he was generous, he was just a tender soul. And Tim, he would throw wrenches.
Wait.
He'd swear at clients and customers.
Wait.
And he would get so pissed off at people. I was just
wait a minute.
appalled by that.
Wait. You got them two mixed around. That was Dave Cheney was throwing them dang wrenches. Those are my wrenches. No, that was in the harbor when he's throwing my sockets in. You got those two mixed up. No,
of course.
So you didn't like Dave then, is what you're saying. Do you mean the guy you got the job?
He was the boss.
You got me a job at Waukegan Tire and then you left. Then you give me a job at Cheney's and then you left. Now you're trying to give me another job.
Life moves on.
I think we're done.
No, actually, Tim was the best. Tim was the best. All joking aside, he was a tender-hearted dude with just a beautiful spirit, and
do anything for you.
I loved hanging around with Tim Stark, and we didn't spend a lot of time together. But boy, in life, when you got a good one, and Tim Stark was a good one. So.
Very, very good one. Miss you, buddy.
Miss you, Tim.
See you someday.
God bless you.
You're in that four-wheel drive in the sky, or Harley, I hear. Go Kevin Harvick, though. Not that Gordon. He's going to retire. He's retired when you retired, buddy. See you again someday.
All right, Tim.
Thanks.
One of my favorite stories is back in 2003, 2004. The boys, Nick, Jason, maybe my brother, and some others were up in Hurley, and me and Tim wanted to go snowmobiling with them as well, but we both worked for Kevin's Towing at the time, and we couldn't get the time off. Imagine that. And so we headed up after work on Friday, and you know, it's, I don't know, it had to be January, maybe February, and we get up to, I don't know, Minocqua, and it's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and it starts snowing so hard. They're shutting the streets down, the gas stations down, they have shut everything down completely. So me and Stark ran out of gas, like in Minocqua. I think it was Minocqua, on 51 in the middle of nowhere. So we called every towing company that we could look up. I called, you know, back then, you know, you didn't have data, you didn't have smartphones, you just couldn't, you know, find them. You had to call 411 and yada yada yada. So after calling, you know, 3, 4, 5 places, nobody would even come out. We were then stuck alongside the road. So we sat there for about a half an hour, and then we got antsy. So we jumped out of the truck, and we were just looking for anything in the back of the Jimmy and the snowmobile trailer. We were just, you know, just trying to come up with something. So we had one 20-ounce Coke bottle, and we figured out that if you pulled the fuel line off of one of the cylinders on our sled, they were triples, they would still run, and the one cylinder would pump the gas into the Coke bottle. So we started it and ran it about 20 Coke bottles full and dumped it into the Blazer until we could get it going. Well, we did that enough times to get it. Every time we run out of gas, we'd have to do it again. Finally, about 20 miles later, we got to a gas station that was actually open. But crazy night. It was one of the craziest memories I had with Tim.
Timo, first time I met him, he comes to the fish camp, and he wanted to have Gordon's fish and some American cheese. You know what? That's when I knew that he was his own man. That's kind of a fish story, but I met him about 10 years ago. My sister and him came down, and when they did come down, about 3 months later we had 3 hurricanes. So I was also wondering about, you know, what the heck's going on. But we had some of the best times, and actually watching Charlie underneath my awning in the back throw out 6-foot branches into my pool. But if you were lucky enough, if you were blessed enough to ever know Timo, you would have met one of the kindest, most wonderful people in the whole world. A person that would give more than he ever would think about taking. I've got plenty of stories about Timo and I. Well, he was somewhat of a, if you would have a bull in a china closet, he might run into something. But you know what? He'd pick it up and put it back. We went to many races together. He loved NASCAR. But the funniest thing was one day we went to, had to be in 2004 or 2005, we went to the Pepsi 400. And we got there a little bit late. And all of a sudden they said we can have parking across the street for $50. I said, well, that's fantastic. You know what? It wasn't across the street. It was another quarter mile down behind the building. It was an old abandoned Chevy dealer. And up against the fence even. But guess what? It started raining. It actually rained for about the next 6 hours. But after about 20-30 minutes, Timo, the way that he was, he could make, remember people would say you could make lemonade out of lemons. If there was a bad issue, if there's something going on, that's exactly what he would do. He said, "Hey Armo, see that door over there? It was a bay door to go in the garage." He goes, "I'm gonna go see if it opens." And guess what? It did. Do you know what happened? All the people that got the worst parking ended up pulling cars into this old abandoned Chevy dealer. We barbecued, we partied, we had the best time ever. And because of Timo. Because he was willing to do something that no one else was willing to do. No one else would even be willing to try. My daughter had a flat tire once. It was 9 o'clock at night. She was with her boyfriend. She calls me. I said, "Well, can't you guys change the tire?" He goes, "Dad, come help to change the tire." I happened to be at Timo's house at the time. Timo says, "I'll come with you." Well, guess what? Timo changed the tire. Timo did everything. Because that's the way he was. A person that would help you in any way, at any time. He did not care about what was going on in his life. He would help you. Even when he went through this issue with the liver, he would come over with a smile. Very few people could do this for over a year. Go through that. He called me the day that he was going for his second liver. He goes, "Yarmo, we're going to do it. Because we're going to go to the last race this year." And I said, "Rock and roll." That's just the thing that I say. And but he's not here anymore. I have plenty of fun stories, but you'll have to go to yarmo.com. Rock and roll. Bye.
One of my favorite memories was when me and my papa went to Marco. We got a boat and we went to Shell Island. We were there for the whole day. He helped me collect shells and the whole bag was full when we were done.
I actually have another story as well. Right after Timmy's first surgery, about 10 days after, he gives me a call and he says, "I got to get out of the house." And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" I was like, "Should you be going anywhere?" And he's like, "Probably not." I was like, "Is Tina even going to let you leave the house?" And he's like, "Probably not, but come over and we'll figure it out." So, okay. So I got over there and we talked her into letting him leave. And it wasn't like we were just going out to dinner. We decided to go, 90 miles to Daytona to a car show swap meet. So we drive all the way over there. It's beautiful out. As soon as we hit Daytona city limits, here comes the rain. Of course, right, Florida. So we get into the parking lot, and I'm with my brother and Tim, and we jump out, and it's raining, and here comes a courtesy golf cart, rolls up to pick us up. And she's like, "Would you like a ride?" And we're like, "Absolutely." So I jump on, my brother jumps on, and as Tim's jumping on, he doesn't quite get on, and the lady takes off. And his foot gets caught in the back of the golf cart, and they're now dragging Tim on the golf cart, and I'm shaking the lady saying, "Hey, stop, 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 stop." So we get stopped, and I picked him off the ground, and his forearm's bloody, his fingers are bloody. I mean, he's bleeding all over the place. And so the lady is like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna take you to the hospital. So lo and behold, they run us through, and as we're going, Tim's got his, he's got a sweatshirt holding the blood in, and we drive by the entrance, to the swap meet, and Tim's like, "Well, at least I got us in for free." And we go in, and we are at the Infield Care Center at Daytona. And if any of you know how big a race fan Tim is, you know that this is the most amazing thing now, that we are inside the Infield Care Center at Daytona International Speedway. So, we walk up to the people, and they're like, "What happened?" And we give them a statement, and they got Tim on like just a seat chair. And, they're like, "No, he's fine, he's fine." And I said, "No, you don't understand. He's like 10 days off of a transplant." And they're like, "Holy cow." So now they're bringing in doctors and medical staff, and now they got him on a bed. But he couldn't believe where we were at. I mean, he just thought it was awesome. He was like, do you know how many racers have come through here? Do you know how many accidents that were at this speedway and are sitting where I'm at? And he was just awed by it. And you know, it was pretty cool. I mean, it was scary, but it was pretty cool. And he after that, I mean, they bandaged him up. We took some pictures, and just another really crazy story of me and Starkey.
One of my favorite Tim stories was on a Sunday. It happened to be his birthday. So me, Mike, Carissa, we get up early, we get over to his house, we start having some drinks over there, having a couple shots. Tim puts on this big goofy cowboy hat. We're still drinking throughout the day. He's opening up his presents. He gets this brand new Harley Davidson Zippo lighter. Amongst other things that he got, we were having fun, we continued drinking, watching the race. About 10 minutes later, I look over and Tim's arm is completely on fire. He loaded this Zippo up with way too much fuel in it, and he just went up in flames. We were jumping around trying to get his arm on fire. We were just trying to get it put out real quick before anything serious happened. Thankfully, nothing happened. We had a good time, and it was a very great memory of Tim.
Well, remember the 3-day cruise, or the 3-hour cruise, I think they call that on television, or it was a 3-hour tour. Well, Timo, myself, Jason, and my son actually had one of those. Timo wanted to get a boat. He actually sold his truck, he sold everything so he could get a boat. So he got the boat, and he had a few troubles with it, but he got it fixed allegedly. So we head on down to Cockroach Bay. We're gonna go fishing. We take off on the boat, and we get down by the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, and we are catching fish. We're catching a couple crabs came sliding on by. We had a cooler full of nothing but fun. So we decided to go a little bit farther down. But all of a sudden the boat stopped. And all of a sudden there was a storm coming. So we flagged down this boat, and the people say, well, we'll tow you. Well, they towed us about a mile and said, we're gonna have to let you go because we got little kids on board and we got to get back to port. So I call Cito, and the guy said, just hold on. I says, he'll call me right back. And the waves started coming on the boat. Water started coming on the boat. Cito calls me. I say, don't come, call the Coast Guard. We're going down. So we're out there. The boat flips over. But prior to that, my son had put jackets on everybody. Timo didn't know how to swim. I don't know why he always wanted a boat, but he did. But he couldn't swim a lick. So Miko first puts a life jacket on him, throws life jackets on Jason, myself, and himself, and all of a sudden he says, jump. I was wondering why to jump. Then when the boat flipped over, I noticed why we had to jump. Because the rods were sticking straight up in the air, and if they would have caught one of us, the hook could have got us, taken us under, and we'd have never come back up. Well, we climb on top of the boat afterward, and we got Timo on top of the boat, and he's holding on for dear life. Got Jason at the very top of the boat, and he's trying to get his cell phone to work. His cell phone would not call anybody, but it would text. If he could have called 911, they would have had our location, but it didn't work. And he's texting everybody, and all of a sudden, a couple of people he texted, they said, oh, you're joking. You know, it's just not right. You know, you guys are kidding. Well, I don't remember who exactly finally decided that maybe we're not joking. So they contacted the Coast Guard on our behalf. We didn't exactly know our location, so we were guessing, and he was texting different locations, and the waves are coming over. My son and I are both in the water. Now you think that would be nice to be in the water, but it's a funny thing about boats, they got fuel. And when the fuel comes out, it burns you. My son got burned pretty bad because he was on the back end of it. I got a few burns. But the Coast Guard, we could see him running around about a mile from us, back and forth for half an hour. And then we finally got one more text out, and they came flying towards us. And I'm gonna tell you something. The Coast Guard is unbelievable. They are fantastic. But then when the Coast Guard got there, he said, who needs to get off the boat first? And it had to be Timo, because he couldn't swim, but he said, I'm not getting off this boat. So Jason grabs a hold of the little line there, puts it in his hands, and I think he just about pushed him off the boat and says, you're going. And when they get him over there, I'll tell you, these guys, they just whip you on this beautiful vessel with bumpers on there, and man, the seats in there were fantastic. But then we get all of us on board. Jason's the last one to come on board. And as soon as Jason stepped on board, his phone burned in his pocket. It just fizzled and finally dead, nothing left. So I don't know, was God helping us there a little bit or what? I truly don't know, but we all made it through that, and I wish Timo would have made it a little bit farther, but we survived one catastrophe, and it's just sad that we had to have another. But Timo, we love you. Rock and roll, man.
I'm sure there's a lot of crazy stories that people tell about Tim and all the fun, but you know, there's a quieter side to Tim, and he always made me part of his passions, the things that he loved. So, you know, obviously he had a passion for racing and a passion for cars, and for those who know me, I'm not exactly what the ladies consider an alpha male, and I'm not, you know, I know nothing about cars, but his passion for it was infectious, and he made me want to learn about the things that he loved, and he was happy to share those things with me and with my girls and my family. You know, he had a way of, you know, making somebody like me who didn't know anything about his world, but made me still feel a part of it. And I'm going to miss Tim, and I think the world of him, and such a great, great person. I love you, Tim.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I see you again, when I see you again.
Damn, who knew? All the planes we flew, good things we've been through. That I'll be standing right here talking to you about another path. I know we love to hit the road and laugh, but something told me that it wouldn't last. Had to switch up, look at things different, see the bigger picture. Those were the days, hard work forever pays. Now I see you in a better place. How can we not talk about family when family's all that we got? Everything I went through, you were standing there by my side, and now you gon' be with me for the last ride.
It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way, from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you